Hi, hello, how you doing? Well, long time no see. I know it's my fault. I have been pretty busy with all sorts of other things, but that's not an excuse. So, yeah, I'm back, and yeah, let me see. What shall we talk about today? I got some ideas, but let's just start with a hello, and then we take it from there, shall we? Okay, what shall we start with? I thought we should talk about light. I did mention it actually in one of my previous posts that it's just so important. Of course, we can feel shapes, but when it comes to seeing the shapes, is it the shapes that we see, or is it actually what the light does with the shapes? Okay, light. Natural light, artificial light. Let's talk about the natural light first, especially on the exterior. That is probably the most important light source, without doubt, which means it's actually the thing that gives a shape because I mean we are not going onto a surface and try to feel it. We see it, and I can show you in a sketch. If we just make two lines, that's the shape without light. Yeah, in Rhino I can also show you what happens, but this is not really a shape. What is a shape is so this now is a shape because it has shadow and it has here light, and we can do interesting. So I mean, let's say this is the same shape, or it seems to be the same shape, but if we have that's a totally different shape. So now we have some sort of a concave here. And equally, if we can make it sharper, or we can just feather it out. Even in Rhino, I could work in this kind of settings. Yeah. Okay, well, I see my lines, I see a lot of things, but actually, I just changed then the lighting scheme to, well, maybe default lighting, or, yeah, the ambient occlusion, or however they call it. That's already working, because you see now you kind of see it actually even better, probably not in scene lighting and default lighting. So we have shadows now, and suddenly the whole shape just comes together. Here, for example, switch that on to no lighting, and oh yeah, happens. But it's actually only when I put some shadow here and some highlights there. So highlight, light, shadows comes light. Only with the light it actually becomes a shape, and it becomes interesting and purposeful or emotional. You could of course argue that we can't move the sun, so that's not how reality works. We move, or the boat moves, the sun moves. Things look different from every angle, but I think you got the idea that you actually have to choose your angle. Without light it's nothing. So when I, for example, also I like to take pictures. Photography is one of my hobbies, and I say I'm not always looking for the most interesting subjects. I'm actually looking for interesting light that makes normal subjects interesting. You see just a bunch of dried leaves, but it's the light that makes the magic, really. I will touch on the topic of interior light only in a specific way. Let's say that is windows, or the windows is a topic on its own. But I don't want to talk about the artificial light, let's say light sources, what do we do? Because let's say when I design an interior, I describe what kind of feeling I want to get from the room, and when I render, I do place lights around that space to make it look the way I want it to look, or the kind of emotion that it gives. But that by no means is actually the light design. I'm not saying, okay, give me a reflected ceiling plan and I just put a couple of dots where the lights go, because that's humbug. What I do is I design a room and I describe scenarios of what I think this room should feel like, or in different situations, let's say, because you always like I said, I'm actually designing some sort of a dramatic theater piece, and as such you have various scenes. Every room has various scenes, and then I would talk with a lighting designer who actually knows exactly how to achieve those scenes, and maybe give me a couple more ideas, because putting the spotlights on the ceiling does not do that. There's a little bit of a let's say gray zone or an overlap when I say, okay, I like that kind of light fitting as an object in the room. It might not be actually the source of the light, and that's why I said, when I do it on 3D in the rendering, that's not the real thing, because I can move light sources, in free space, and I just move it till it makes that cool reflection that I want on that metal wall on the side. But we don't have actually glowing invisible light sources that hover in mid-space in reality. So that's then the role of the lighting designer, to actually give me that effect with in the real world. But what I can do is I work with windows. Windows, of course, is the important, I don't know, the most important. Is it the most important? That's a matter of I would say opinion. Even it's a matter of your approach. For me, windows obviously are the most important light source on the interior, because it's natural light, and I don't really see the point of making an interior completely close to the exterior and just shut everything off, tint the windows, put some blinds in, and then put lights on it because it's otherwise too dark. So that doesn't doesn't make sense to me. On the other hand, some people say, don't leave that to nature. Nature, you can't control nature, and that is of course true. So you do actually have to cater for when there's no natural light, or not enough, or I can understand that you might actually want some nice artificial cozy light when there's when it's all gray and rainy outside, and you don't want that to come in. But most of the time, well, we designers claim actually that we do this unique inside-outside living, and most of the time we say, yeah, we have a door so you can walk from the inside to the outside and vice versa. But yeah, that's not what we mean. No. What we mean is that when you are inside, you actually have a little bit of the magic that you would otherwise have out on the outside, also coming to the inside. Or yeah, we look outside obviously, but when we look outside, because there's a beautiful world outside, there's also light coming in, and that should actually yeah, that should work in our favor. So there's a lot about light, and it is really the most important tool for me, for the designer in general. It's, yeah, without light it's dark.